and then admit all. Okay, so I think that's worked. Okay, I guess I'll start. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's Sea Cargo Charter JSON information session. Before we begin, just a quick note: today's webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be shared afterwards to anyone that wants it. As many of you know, the SCC has recently published a standardized JSON schema to support the exchange of emission-related voyage data being between carriers and charterers. Today's session is intended to provide a practical overview of the schema, including its purpose, structure, and how it's expected to be used in practice. I'm pleased to introduce our main speaker today, Lance from Dow, and he was the chair of the SCC Digitalization Working Group and has led much of the work behind the development of this JSON schema. He will walk us through the key elements of the schema and explain how it's been designed to support more consistent and efficient data exchange across the industry. We're also joined by Mohit and Institute from Stolt Tankers, who are active members of the Digitalization Working Group, and all of them were instrumental in developing the JSON schema. They'll be available to help answer your questions during the Q&A, which I will then go through at the end of the session. Throughout the webinar, please feel free to submit any questions you may have through there's a Q&A function, and I'll be moderating those, and will do my best to ask those at the end of the session for the rest to answer. And with that, I'll pass over to Lance.
Super, thanks. Yeah, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody out there. We're super excited. We've been working on this for quite some months, and it's great to see the JSON schema, finally get published, and it's exciting to talk about it. So I'm going to share a short presentation here to provide some amount of introduction and kind of how we got here. Let's see. So the data challenge. Sea Cargo Charter is very reliant on data exchange, right? The whole system doesn't work unless carriers can systematically communicate their emissions to the respective charterers. And it's a lot of data exchange, and Sea Cargo Charter seemed to recognize this right away. Right, with the very first Excel templates that help to standardize the data, and those have served us well. But we have modern communication techniques that are all around us these days, and this was the main reason why the Sea Cargo Charter Digitization Working Group was formed. We wanted to explore and recommend a more modern and standardized approach to data exchange. And that's exactly what we did. The first thing we did was we went out and we surveyed the landscape of solutions. So we talked to various service providers and organizations to understand, how they're supporting Sea Cargo Charter, how they're supporting emissions information data exchange, what sort of solutions have they been pursuing, and did they have anything out there that we might be able to leverage in. We also talked to the PACT and iLeap folks, and as you'll see in the end solution, we took some efforts to make sure that the solution that we were recommending was compliant with a lot of their vocabulary and terminology and methodology. Ultimately, we identified a technical solution that was a JSON schema that could be used in an API type setup, and we pulled together a document. It's about 30 pages. We'll take a peek at it a little bit later to explain the solution and the best practices. We also provided some recommendations to Sea Cargo Charter, how we might share this information and do some industry outreach, of which this session it was one of those recommendations. Okay, so before we get into the specific solution, some might see JSON as a new acronym. It stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and it's a data exchange format. So maybe you can kind of think of it as, when you go to a restaurant, you look at the menu, and on the menu, the dishes are grouped and they're in a certain order, right? The soups are over here, the salads are over here, the main courses, and they're always in the same order. And you as a customer might walk in and order a certain meal from that menu, but the menu itself stays the same. The JSON is kind of like that menu. It places all of the data elements that you want to exchange in a specific order, in a specific place, in a specific format, so that computer systems can map the information into the message and then map the information out of the message. The JavaScript object notation, it's easy for humans to read and write. You'll see some examples of that. It doesn't take long to kind of get your bearings around, how to look at the code. And it's very easy for machines to parse and generate. It's pretty flexible, and even if you haven't known, the acronym, you've almost surely used JSON messages anytime that you're using websites and you're passing information back and forth, or using cloud applications. To implement this kind of solution would vary by system and complexity. As a rule of thumb, you should plan on about 3 weeks of development time. All right. So the specific JSON solution that we're recommending is one that we've leveraged in. It was developed by Vesta Nautical for the purpose of supporting their clients, but we've used that and leveraged it over with their full permission. The JSON, it mimics the Excel spreadsheet very closely. So if you were visually scanning through the Excel document, basically what we're doing is lifting each data element out of the Excel spreadsheet and putting it into an order and a logical format so that computers can read and exchange it. You'll notice some examples of the code over here, and you'll see things that you can read, sort of in English. Voyage number, and it's a number, or voyage type, where you can see some of the enumerated lists that you would normally see in the Excel document. Some of the additional benefits here is that optional fields can assist in data validation. So, for example, inserting times for port calls. When did the port call end, and when did it start? Can, in some cases, help the AIS data validation do their work more efficiently and effectively. What is different is that whereas in Sea Cargo Charter you have different Excel templates for single voyage or single cargo charters and parceling, in this case, the single JSON schema can accommodate both. And this is a tested solution. It's been implemented several times already, and sort of open for business. So what might it look like? Well, user interfaces can vary significantly. So all I'm showing here is one example of a user interface that has been implemented. Again, the JSON itself is a data standard. It doesn't really have a UI. This is just showing how a computer UI might look. In this case, the UI is structured like an inbox, so you can see similar to an inbox where you would see normal email messages come in. These JSONs are messages. It's just that they're messages of structured data. And so using the different views, you could see the message that came in both in code view, or there's a toggle where you could see the message more in formatted for human consumption type view. And also the user interface could be configured to do error checks, which you can see certain things turning red and so forth. So as the message comes in, the error checks are done by the UI. And in this case, the way that this one is implemented, serious issues hold up. Minor issues and clean reports, they just auto approve in and become part of your master data set. Okay. Right, and so how the JSON works in detail, we've put together this this document. It was primarily developed by the folks at Stolt and then peer reviewed with the rest of the team, and also with the PACT and ILEAP folks to make sure that it was compliant with that vocabulary. And basically it describes an overview of the solution, and it also provides workflow suggestions and data validation suggestions and so forth. So I'll just real quickly pop in that so you get a look. This is posted to the Sea Cargo Charter website, to the resources page, where you can also find the Excel templates and the technical guidance documents and so forth that you've if you're on this call, you've probably most certainly visited before. So as I was mentioning, there is an introduction and a sort of in English solution description. Further information about how the data structure is organized, and more robust examples of the JSON standard being implemented with different voyages. So again, here you can kind of see the ease of this to be able to read right off, and you start to get a feel for how this JSON standard works. Everything is defined, so all these data fields that are in the all these things in green, they are defined in detail throughout the document. And as I mentioned before, towards the end, there are some further information about recommendations for data validation and implementation. So I think that's largely what I wanted to say, and I think we'll open it up to any questions.
Thanks, Lance. That was great. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A section, or alternatively, you can put your hand up and I can unmute you, and you can ask your question direct. Yeah, I can see there's a question. You should be unmuted if you want to.
Hi, you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you.
The Q&A app doesn't work and the chat is closed, so I guess that's why it's quite silent.
There's a separate one. So there's the chat, and then to the right of that, you should be able to see the Q&A.
Yeah, here it says there was a problem reaching this app. I don't know if it's only me. But anyhow, my question is, do you plan to come with revisions of this? Because we looked a bit into the different examples and also the structure in the document, and that's actually 3 different structures. It's a bit unclear exactly how you want or how the standard should work when there's 2 examples that are not consistent, and then a third illustration of the structure that I can't get to match with any of the examples. So is this a sort of a first version and you will come with a revision, or is this something you've been considering?
So let me take the first part, and then I'll pass the more technical bits over to our friends at Stolt. As far as for revisions, yes, Sea Cargo Charter itself is constantly sort of evolving and changing, right? As we find better practices and learn more things. You see tweaks to the Excel spreadsheets and so forth over time, and so we do expect to see changes over time, and so we'll continue to manage that in concert with the broader Sea Cargo Charter actions. As far as for specifics and so forth, as I mentioned before, the schema does accommodate both single cargo and multi-cargo parceling type scenarios, and I believe that in the document we've put examples of both, which might be some of the apparent changes in format that you're seeing. But let the Stolt folks talk in more detail to that.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So as Len mentioned that in the document we try to highlight a different kind of example. In the first example, you can see a single cargo with this simple structure. In the first example, we just try to highlight that how these fields are working. And in the appendix, you can see a different example, is a more complex example. So that's why it's a little bit different in all example in the document.
But that shouldn't make a difference for the vessel definition. The vessel definition is on top level in one example, and then it's underneath the data table in the second. So there's sort of two different ways of defining the vessel.
So we just try to categorize this data into different structure. Like we try to categorize like vessel data in one block, then emission data in one block, field data in another block. So that's what we try in this JSON schema, so that it's easier to handle by users and the IT folks.
Another question. I'll unmute. Okay, you should be unmuted now if you want to ask your question. I think you have to unmute. You should be able to unmute.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. I had to unmute myself. Sorry. Just a question about understood the JSON format but what is going to be the structure that we're going to send to the masters or to charters? I mean, for now, is the Excel that they fill and send back. But are we going to send them a JSON schema that they're going to fill themselves, or will there going to be some kind of app that they will use to fill the information?
Yeah. So the JSON message is really just the data map, right? It's most modern computer systems that are out there can create and or receive JSON messages. So it would take some configurations. You work with your IT department to be able to configure your system to transfer data or receive data in that JSON format. The benefit of having the JSON standard is such that if you wanted to say, for instance, exchange this emissions information with another counterparty, without a standard, you would basically figure out your own sort of schema, right? Your own sort of data mapping to exchange that data. If you then wanted to talk to another party, they might have some different ideas, right, as to how the data mapping should go, and then so you got to kind of build a second solution kind of from scratch or bespoke for them. Well, as you try to scale talking to more and more counterparties, that type of arrangement becomes very difficult to manage, right? You've got all these different flavors of Sea Cargo Charter communications that you're trying to manage. If you develop to the JSON schema and your counterparty delivers to the JSON schema, then you can both be kind of doing development in parallel and have some peace of mind that when you go to talk to the next counterparty and to the next counterparty and to the next counterparty, that they've all been developing on the same, with the same data map in mind, and it makes standing up these digital connections much easier.
Yeah, that's clear enough. But the question is on the solution itself for this exchange, how is it going to look like? Is it going to be sent by email, or I mean, they need this JSON has to be parsed after, obviously that I understand. But how are we going to request the information itself to them? Via some application usually that, I mean, like the computers, we fill in some fields, and those fields, they are arrayed in a JSON format, and that's the output kind of. I mean, the JSON is more the output of an input. But what is the input going to look like?
Right. Okay. So let's give an example of because Stolt and DAO have this sort of connection, right? So on the Stolt side, they use their system of record and enter in where they gather up all the emissions information, right? When the voyage is complete, their system automatically, right, creates a JSON message that sends over to our side. And then, like I showed in the example, what we see is sort of that inbox view. Let me put that back up.
Yeah. So it's on our side to arrange the schema, and to, I mean, to put the via our inputs to arrange the schema and send to you on this way, normal Excel.
Right. So what you're looking at here is what it looks like on the receiving side. And again, this is just one user interface, right? Another company's user interface might look quite different, but for us, this is what it looks like. There's sort of an inbox, and this automated JSON message that was created on the Stolt side lands kind of as an email message to us. And when we open the message, we can see the code, or we can see this more human view and accept the data. When we press the accept button, it just goes into the master data set. And we've got a lot of this on auto accept. So if it's a good message, it just comes in and maps into the master data set.
Okay. When is the expected go live for this?
So it's live. It's live now. In that it's right posted out to the Sea Cargo Charter website. It's up to signatories, vessel owners to work with their IT departments, right, to configure and make sure that if you want to send this kind of message or receive this kind of message, that your IT folks do the necessary configuration.
So it's like for now, it's like a recommended best practice, but it's not obligatory.
Right. Right. I mean, right. The Excel spreadsheets are likely going to be around for a long time. But if you have counterparties that you do business with on a regular basis, rather than continue to exchange Excel documents, which may take automation on your side to create, and then takes automation on the receiving side to receive. This JSON standard can allow you to transfer the information, faster, easier, more efficiently, with better error detection and whatnot.
Of course. Okay. Thank you so much. All for me.
So we have another hand up. I will allow your mic. You'll have to unmute yourself, and then you can ask a question.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Thank you very much for the presentation and the effort put into this. I just to echo and go maybe a little bit more deeper than the previous question, I think, from Benjamin. I think the question around this from our side is mostly requesters from vessel owners that could be small vessel owners, where we often ask directly captains to fill the Excel sheets. This is not really made for these cases, is it? It's more like for big companies that own vessels and want to simplify their reporting to us. Is that a fair assessment? It's not something I can ask one vessel to set up for me.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment. Where it gets, yeah, right. If you want to exchange emissions information and you want to do it right regularly, then you would put the effort into this kind of solution, because it does take some work with IT to get things set up. The benefit, though, like if you think if you're a carrier and you have to talk to multiple counterparties, right? And counterparty A is coming to say, hey, can you provide me this information digitally?
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to have to, for each counterparty, develop a unique solution. You'd like to be able to develop one data exchange solution that you can leverage across multiple counterparties. And that's where this kind of solution has benefits, right? Because
absolutely. No, I see the point of it. And yeah, again, great effort. I think there will be some great use cases. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Just put your hand up if you have any others. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands, so I assume that's all the questions covered. I guess a big thank you to Indrajit, Mohit, and Lance for presenting. Yeah, as I said earlier, this will be recorded and can be shared out if anyone wants to share it with their verifiers, service providers. And yeah, thank you for your questions and thanks for coming. It was yeah. I will end the meeting here then. Thank you all.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.